What if I told you that some of heavy metal's loudest, wildest stars burned brighter than anyone for one glorious moment, only to vanish from the spotlight like smoke after a fire? These were the bands that stormed the charts, owned the stage, and made you believe they'd be legends forever. But fame in metal is a brutal game, and for these 10, one unforgettable hit was all the world would remember. Here are 10 heavy metal stars who roared once and were forgotten. 10. Dragonforce. When you hear the name Dragonforce, most fans instantly think of a single, explosive song that brought epic speed metal to millions around the world. That song was Through the Fire and Flames, released in 2006. It was a lightning-fast three-way duel of shredding guitars, stomping drums, and soaring vocals, wrapped in the fantasy-themed lyrics that define the band's style. The track became a viral sensation thanks to its inclusion in the video game Guitar Hero 3, where players struggled to match its breakneck solos. This pushed Dragonforce from underground heroes to international sensations almost overnight. The band was formed in London in the late 1990s by guitarists Herman Lee and Sam Totman, who were obsessed with pushing their playing technique to new heights. Their music combined power metal theatrics with extreme speed and precision, setting them apart in the modern metal scene. However, despite the massive fame of Through the Fire and Flames, the band never managed to replicate that level of mainstream success. Their subsequent albums were embraced by dedicated metal fans, but never reached those commercial peaks. Their sound, while technically mind-blowing, was often considered too intricate and polished for mass radio play, especially in the shifting musical climates after the 2000s. Dragonforce carved out a devoted niche, known for their flashy solos and fantasy themes, but the shadow of that one monumental track looms large. 9. Quiet Riot. Quiet Riot's story is classic 1980s metal success in a nutshell, with one song catapulting them to instant fame, Come On Feel the Noise, from 1983. This anthem became a defining moment for the band, featuring catchy verses, an unforgettable chorus, and the powerful vocals of Kevin DuBrow. The band originally formed in Los Angeles in the mid-1970s and was actually one of the first metal acts to break into the mainstream with their 1983 album Metal Health hitting number 1 on the Billboard charts. Come On Feel the Noise was actually a cover of a song by the British glam rock band Slade, but Quiet Riot's heavier, more polished rendition brought it to a whole new audience. Despite that success, Quiet Riot struggled to maintain momentum beyond their breakthrough. Internal tensions, lineup changes, and shifts in musical tastes during the mid to late 80s hampered their ability to follow up with equally impactful hits. While they continued releasing albums and touring, their later work never matched the commercial success or rock radio presence of Come On Feel the Noise. The band's influence on glam and heavy metal is undeniable. They helped pave the way for hair metal's mainstream explosion, but their name remains forever linked with that one explosive hit. 8. Anvil. Canadian metal warriors Anvil have carved one of the most heartfelt and enduring stories in heavy metal. You know, the kind where the passion never fades, despite being overlooked. Since forming in Toronto in 1978, Anvil has steadfastly played old-school heavy metal with relentless energy and sincerity. Their true claim to fame is the 1982-track Metal on Metal, a pure steel anthem that has become a cult classic among metalheads worldwide. The song's pounding riffs and raw vocals perfectly encapsulate the rugged, no-frills approach that made Anvil stand out in the crowded 80s metal scene. Metal on Metal gained some play on rock radio and became a favorite in underground circles, but true mainstream success always eluded the band. Despite the lack of commercial hits afterward, they refused to quit, touring tirelessly for decades and influencing countless later metal bands. Their story took a remarkable turn with the 2008 documentary Anvil, The Story of Anvil, which brought them international recognition late in their career and endeared them to a new generation of fans. Still, their chart presence is defined almost entirely by Metal on Metal, an anthem that represents honest, brutal metal without compromise. 7. Grim Reaper. The English band Grim Reaper rose out of the new wave of British heavy metal with a haunting, sinister promise embedded in their name and delivered with their 1983 hit, See You in Hell. Led by the raw, powerful vocals of Steve Grimmett, the song features menacing guitar riffs and lyrics straight out of gothic horror. The minimalist yet heavy approach gave the track an intense atmosphere, making it a favorite among metal fans craving something darker and rawer than the glam metal dominating much of the era. The accompanying music video, shot on a shoestring budget in a spooky church, perfectly captured the eerie vibe and helped the song gain notable rock radio attention in the US. Despite this initial breakthrough, the band struggled with record label disputes that hindered their ability to keep momentum. By the late 1980s, those issues, coupled with the rise of other metal subgenres, forced Grim Reaper into the shadows. Their blend of pure heavy metal and gothic themes never fully crossed into mainstream popularity beyond See You in Hell. 6. Lizzy Borden. If shock rock had a dictionary entry in the 1980s, Lizzy Borden would be the bold, bloody example. Named after the infamous historical figure, the American band took their theatrical, horror-inspired stage show to extremes. Fake blood, axes, and costumes that looked ripped from a horror movie set. At the center was singer and namesake Lizzy Borden, whose powerful vocals commanded attention on the band's 1987 single, Me Against the World. The song delivered message-driven lyrics, wrapped in catchy, heavy riffs, and it stood out in an era when heavy metal was as much about image as it was music. The track broke through enough to get some rock radio play and brought Lizzy Borden temporary national attention. But their over-the-top theatrics, while captivating live, also limited broader commercial radio appeal. The band's niche blend of horror, showmanship, and metal brutality made them favorites among fans of extreme stage acts, but also alienated more mainstream listeners and radio programmers. Lizzy Borden never scored another hit like this, slipping back into cult status rather than chart success. 5. Warlock. Warlock was the German band that introduced the world to the raw power and charisma of Doro Pesch, who would go on to become one of metal's most iconic female voices. Their 1987 anthem, All We Are, was a soaring rally cry that combined the fierce energy of traditional metal with a melodic hook that made it instantly unforgettable. The track featured Doro's commanding vocals paired with powerful riffs, making it a staple at metal festivals and a rare European metal hit in the United States. Their music video received solid airplay on MTV, setting them apart in a crowded metal market. Yet major legal battles over the rights to their band name derailed their momentum just as they were primed for an American breakthrough. Unable to continue under the Warlock banner, the band disbanded, and Doro launched a solo career that cemented her status in metal history. Though the band's time in the spotlight was brief, All We Are remains a timeless anthem that captured European metal's melodic potency with just one hit that briefly transcended borders. 4. Saxon. Saxon is one of the true legends in heavy metal, giants in Europe, but puzzlingly known in the US mostly for just one song, Wheels of Steel. Released in 1980, this track became an anthem of working-class metal pride, with its relentless riff and sing-along chorus celebrating the open road and freedom. Lead singer Biff Byford's gritty voice and the band's no-nonsense sound captured the spirit of the new wave of British heavy metal perfectly. While Saxon's legacy in Europe is filled with classic albums and massive tours, their American chart success never went much beyond that one-hit single. Despite releasing equally strong tracks like Denim and Leather and Princess of the Night, radio stations in the US largely ignored them, leaving Saxon with a strange paradox: massive stars abroad, but forever a one-hit wonder in America. Their influence on metal worldwide is profound, but in terms of chart presence across the Atlantic, their story is defined by a solitary yet powerful hit. 3. Diamond Head. Diamond Head stands as one of the most influential yet underrated bands in heavy metal history, largely thanks to their 1980 track, Am I Evil? The song begins with a haunting, classical-inspired intro before launching into one of the heaviest, most memorable riffs ever penned, blending melody with raw power flawlessly. This track helped shape the blueprint for thrash metal, with its dark, ominous lyrics and dynamic, complex structure setting it apart from the simpler metal songs of its era. Despite the critical acclaim and growing underground following, Diamond Head struggled with limited promotion and a lack of strong record label support, which meant they never broke through to the mainstream in a big way. Their influence, however, exploded when Metallica chose to cover Am I Evil and other Diamond Head classics, catapulting the band's music to global metal fans and immortalizing their sound. Yet commercially, Diamond Head remained a one-hit wonder with Am I Evil, their sole brush with widespread attention. The band's true impact rests in their role as originators whose music inspired generations of thrash metal bands rather than chart domination, making Am I Evil a cult metal anthem that shaped the genre's future. 2. Static X. Static X emerged in the late 1990s with a sound that carved its own aggressive niche by blending industrial metal's mechanical precision with the raw intensity of nu metal. Their 1999 hit Push It perfectly encapsulated this hybrid style, combining grinding, machine-like guitar riffs, pulsating electronic elements, and the barked, commanding vocals of frontman Wayne Static. The song quickly became a staple on rock and metal radio stations, as well as MTV, where its futuristic, energetic vibe resonated with fans hungry for something heavier yet modern. Push It distinguished itself from its contemporaries with a relentless pace and tight, precise production, helping define the heavier edge of the late 90s metal landscape. However, despite releasing several solid albums afterwards, Static X never replicated the radio and MTV hit status of Push It, partly due to the rapidly evolving tastes of the nu metal audience and changes in the music industry. Wayne Static's death in 2014 was a tragic close to their story, cementing the band's enduring cult status. Today, Push It remains their signature achievement, a powerful, iconic track that captures the essence of an era when metal met digital aggression head-on. 1. Mudvayne. Mudvayne burst onto the early 2000s metal scene with a sound that fused progressive musicianship and complex rhythms with the raw power and angst-driven intensity of nu metal. Their 2001 debut single, Dig, marked a breakthrough moment, showcasing aggressive guitar riffs, intricate time changes, and the emotive yet forceful vocals of Chad Gray. The song's structure balances crushing heaviness with melodic sections, making it both a radio-friendly metal hit and a favorite among fans craving complexity. Dig garnered heavy rotation on rock radio and MTV, helping Mudvayne stand out in a crowded nu metal market dominated by simpler acts. Despite continued praise from critics and a loyal fanbase, the band struggled to match Dig commercially with subsequent releases, leaving them widely viewed as a one-hit wonder in mainstream circles. Yet the track remains a high watermark for Mudvayne, celebrated for its dynamic intensity and musicianship that bridged aggressive metal with progressive elements. Dig encapsulates the early 2000s nu metal era while also highlighting the band's ability to deliver challenging yet accessible heavy music. Outro. And there you have it. 10 heavy metal stars who had their moment in the sun before fading into the shadows. Which one of these bands do you think deserved another shot at glory? Or did we miss a forgotten favorite of yours? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip down metal memory lane, give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and tap the bell icon so you don't miss more stories like this.